So the next example we're going to do is number 3. So when I make my two cases, remember the first case, nothing changes. X minus 1 greater than 6. The second case is going to change, but not on the left side, not what's in absolute value. That's going to stay the same. X minus 1 stays the same. Then I switch the direction of the inequality, and I make my 6 a negative 6. So from here, we just solve both inequalities. For this particular problem, to solve both inequalities, we have to add 1 to both sides of both inequalities. So what we get as our answer is x is greater than 6, and that x is less than negative 5. So let's graph this and see what type of graph we get. This time we don't have or equal to underneath our inequalities, so we're going to use open circles. The first inequality, x is greater than 6. I put an open circle over 6. If I want all the numbers greater than 6, I have to go to the right of 6. X less than negative 5, I need an open circle over negative 5. And if I want all the numbers less than negative 5, I have to go to the left of negative 5. So we see this big gap here. This gap right here means that this is an OR because the two branches of our graph are going apart from one another. So again, we're looking at inequality notation. So when I write this in inequality notation, I start with the lower of the two. Negative 5 is in the inequality that has the lowest number, so x is less than negative 5 will be first, and then I write the word or. X greater than 6 will be second. So we're going to go to the next page of notes, and we're going to do number 8. So I noticed that this showed up in some of the IXLs that I've assigned previously. We've talked about how when we divide both sides by a negative number and we have an inequality, we have to switch the direction of the inequality. But we also have to switch the direction of the inequality when we multiply both sides by a negative number. So we see for this problem that we're dividing this absolute value by negative 2. And remember, when we are working these problems before we set up our cases, we have to get everything in absolute value isolated so that it's all by itself before we set up our two cases. So we'll start this problem by getting rid of divide by negative 2. The way that we get rid of divide by negative 2 is by multiplying both sides by negative 2. And since I'm multiplying both sides by a negative, I have to switch the direction that my inequality is facing. So it's a less than or equal to symbol. I need to make it a greater than or equal to symbol. So over here on the left side, the negative 2 over negative 2 cancel out because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, and we don't need that 1. So all we have left on this side, for absolute value 4x minus 8. Negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12. So now we see that everything in absolute value is isolated. All we have on the left is in absolute value. So we are ready to set up our cases. Remember, for the first case, nothing changes. 4x minus 8 greater than or equal to 12. For the second case, 4x minus 8, we switch the way that the inequality is facing, and we change the 12 to a negative 12. And then we just have two inequalities we have to solve. So I add 8 to both sides. I get 4 is greater than or equal to 20. For x greater than or equal to 20. And we get 4x is less than or equal to negative 4. So our last step in solving both of these inequalities is to divide both sides by 4. So we see that x is greater than or equal to 5, and x is less than or equal to negative 1. So we'll graph this and see what our graph looks like. X is greater than or equal to 5 means I need a closed circle over the 5. Greater than or equal to 5 means I need the numbers bigger than 5, so that goes to the right of 5. X less than or equal to 1, negative 1, less than or equal to negative 1 means I need a closed circle over negative 1. And if I want the number smaller than negative 1, I have to go to the left of negative 1. So the two pieces of the graph are going apart from each other. So we have an OR inequality. When we write inequality notation, we'll start with this inequality with the smaller number. X is less than or equal to negative 1, or x is greater than or equal to 5. So what I would like for you to do is show me number 6 and number 7. So when you're ready to see the answers to number 6 and number 7, you can go to the next